Hello guys, Zennosh here and welcome to Awaken Chaos Era tier list. I would love to give a very big thanks to my viewers who gave me constructive criticism and feedbacks in my previous tier list. As a reminder, please do take this tier list with a grain of salt. Without wasting any further time, let's get this started. Let's start with Urion. I will be placing him in SS tier. He gets elemental advantage when attacking or being attacked. Very high attack stats, has high sustenance thanks to his shield, has other abilities like stun and AoE defense down. Great for arena contents, pairs greatly with Yolanda. Next is Crazed Urzog. I will be placing him in S tier. Very high attack stats, great for boss battles as he deals more damage to enemy with low health. Abilities like block, unhealable and AoE dispel makes him an interesting unit for dungeons. His Raise Eruption chained with Bloodshed is great for arena, pairs nicely with Jacob and Imogen. Next is NICKLAUS. I will be placing him in S tier. High attack stats, his trait ability will always make him the fastest unit in the team. His Holy Sword enhances the stats of all allies. Additionally, Death Immunity ability and good AoE damage makes him a great unit for arena. Pairs nicely with MELIZZA and Gubek. The next is Evelyn First Dawn. I will be placing her in SS tier. Amazing support unit who can boost defense and attack of entire team. She can even grant bonus turn to all allies at the end of round, which is very superb for any content in the game, especially in arena. She has very good synergy with Cyrus. Next is Brand the Brilliant. I will be placing him in SS tier. Very high health stats paired with good defense. His invincibility and immunity is great for stall meta in arena. Deals true damage based on target's maximum health, which is great for dungeons. Next is Imogen. I will be placing her in A tier. Very high attack stats, her Moonlight ability is great for dealing extra damage to enemies but triggers with random allies. Good for overall contents, best paired with Jacob and Crazed Urzog. The next one on the list is ABADDON. I will be placing him in S tier. Very high attack stats, great for boss fights as he nukes very hard. For his optimal performance, his target needs to have negative effects applied. Great for arena as well. Next is Corrupt Orak. I will be placing him in SS tier. Very high health stats paired with good defense stats. Great for arena defense as he is very tanky with the ability to deal true damage to enemies at the start of every round based on his maximum health. More the health, more the damage. Maximum health up ability makes him even more tanky. Pairs greatly with HECTOR. Next is Darkened NICKLAUS. I will be placing him in S tier. Super high attack stats. Death immunity gives him super great sustenance. Damage scales with the health lost and takes full advantage of death immunity for massive damage output. Great for arena, pairs greatly with Yolanda. Next is Gubek. I will be placing him in B tier. Very speedy character with very low damage output. Next is Yolanda. I will be placing her in A tier. Her guard and shield ability are great for stall meta. She is a good utility unit who pairs greatly with Urzog and Darkened NICKLAUS. Good for overall contents. Next is Mythesia. I will be placing her in S tier. Amazing healer with Revive, Shield, and Cleanse ability. Great for any content in the game. Pairs greatly with Brand. Next is Savannah. I will be placing her in the S tier. She definitely is one of the best nuker in the game, but her ability cooldown is at its max duration at the start of battle. She may not be that great for arena, but she is awesome for boss fights, guild battle, and dungeons. Wind strikes can definitely help her with the cooldown. Next is Gangelo. I will be placing him in A tier. His poison ability is great for dungeons, especially in Arcane Dominator. Pairs greatly with Santis and Gazar. Next is Desmond. I will be placing him in A tier. His Plague is easy to apply but is pretty weak as it depends upon the target's current health. Has good uses in Arcane Dominator. Next is Evera. I will be placing her in the S tier. Has very high attack stats, great cleave unit for arena content, massive AoE damage output. Next is Balbereth. I will be placing him in the A tier. Has very high attack stats but very low speed. Can be used as semi-tank as he can revive upon his death to continue his carnage. Can nuke a single target real hard, and if he manages to kill the target, he gets his trait ability refreshed. His AoE damage can deal good damage as well. This bootleg Diablo is great for almost every content. Next is ZACHARY. I will be placing him in the A tier. His curse ability is pretty unique and can deal massive damage if used properly. Provides team with good sustenance. Pairs greatly with HECTOR and CIARA to increase damage of his ultimate ability. Next is HECTOR. I will be placing him in S tier. High attack stats, his trait ability boosts his damage output by 50%. Great for boss fights as he can increase the damage taken by target by up to 50%. Nukes pretty good as well. Pairs greatly with ZACHARY. Next is Cyrus. I will be placing her in the S tier. Very high speed with average attack stats. Has abilities like Defense Pierce and Ability Immunity. Great nuker with self-attack boost. Great for arena. Pairs nicely with Evelyn First Dawn. The next one is Brand. I will be placing him in SS tier. Very high health stats and good defensive stats. Provides great sustenance to the team as he provides shield for everyone at the start of his turn. Can easily taunt a target. His counter attack triggers even when an ally is hit and additionally inflict attack down on the target. He can even grant 50% defense and attack boost to all allies. Superb tank and support unit who is essential unit for a stall meta. Great for arena and overall contents where team sustenance is required. Pairs greatly with LYDIA and Thomas for counter-attack team. Pairs nicely with Huckrin, Corrupt Aurak, Darkened NICKLAUS, Bruzak, and Celestial Kane for stall meta team. Next one on the list is Valeria. I will be placing her in the S tier. High attack stats, deals very high AoE damage which scales with her current health. Gets skill cooldown reduction upon death of enemy. Great for arena content. Needs healers like MELIZZA, BLACKHORN, and KANE for sustenance and optimal performance. Next is Hydrisia. I will be placing her in S tier. Superb DPS hero with very high attack stats who can deal lots of massive AoE damage. Super friendly hero for beginners who can provide fast gameplay progression. She excels in adventure content and is a great unit for Cleave team in arena contents. She pairs really nice with Hugh and Virgil, boosting their performance. Next is Tia. I will be placing her in S tier. Superb control and DPS unit, very good at slowing down and freezing enemies. Her skill sets are very good for any content in the game, especially in arena. Pairs nicely with Myla. Next is CIARA. I will be placing her in S tier. A free-to-play legendary unit with high attack stats. Gets stronger as enemy gets defeated. Can nuke a target very hard. Great for boss battles and arena. Next is BLACKHORN. I will be placing him in SS tier. Superb healing unit overall. Great for overall contents in the game. Next is LYDIA. I will be placing her in S tier. Very high attack stats, she nukes very hard with ignore defense ability, can frequently dodge incoming attacks and counter attacks with successful dodge. Great for boss fights, dungeons, and arena contents. Next is Mulhex. I will be placing him in S tier. A DPS unit with very high health stats, great damage output with fast ability cooldown thanks to his trait ability. Has abilities like defense down and attack up for more damage output. Great for dungeons, arena, and adventure. Next is LIGHTWING ZACHARY. I will be placing him in A tier. A great unit with ability to ignore enemies' defense with ultimate ability. Has abilities to grant himself with attack up and immune. Upon getting attacked, he has good chance of getting bonus turn. Great for arena content. Next is LUNAR MELIZZA. I will be placing her in the B tier. Has very good abilities but with very high skill cooldown. Next is Celestial Kane. I will be placing him in A tier. A tank unit who can grant invincible to all allies. Great for arena defense. His taunt ability is very useful. Next is Marianne Shadowblood. I will be placing her in the B tier. A DPS unit with weak damage output. Next is ZATLOX. I will be placing him in the SS tier. Definitely one of the best DPS unit in the game, if not the best. Upon defeating an enemy, resets all of his ability cooldowns. If his ultimate ability kills the target, then he launches a bonus attack against the enemy with lowest health. His passive ability grants him 30% crit rate and precision. He can easily get into a killing spree with massive critical damage. One of the best farmers in the game. Great for every content in the game, especially adventure and arena. Easy to build, plus he is a free-to-play unit that you can get easily from Covenant. Next is Arendelle. I will be placing him in B tier, a weak DPS unit who requires very high build. Next is Hugh. I will be placing him in A tier. Very fast unit who can frequently counterattack enemies. Can ignore 50% of the enemy defense with his ultimate ability as well. Hard nuker for arena content. Pairs greatly with Evelyn Frostdawn and Tia. Next is Kane. I will be placing him in the B tier. A free-to-play unit with niche abilities and average stats. Can be used to dispel buffs from enemy. Next is Winstrex. I will be placing her in SS tier. Best support unit in the game. Grants massive speed and attack boost to all allies. She can even refresh the cooldown of an ally's ultimate ability. Great for every content in the game, especially in arena content. Pairs greatly with Savannah, Hugh, and Gubek. Next is Gazer. I will be placing him in A tier. His poison ability is great for Arcane Dominator or any boss fights. Great synergy with Santes and Gangelo. Next is Antinua. I will be placing her in the A tier. Good DPS unit with Unicorn's Blessing ability to deal greater damage to a target. Her ultimate ability provides her with bonus turn, which is great for arena fights. Next is Urjag. I will be placing him in Thrash Fillet tier. He needs to be at very low health for optimal performance, which is pretty hard to maintain. Next is Vance. I will be placing him in Thrash Fillet tier. An offensive unit with weak damage output. Next is Edicris. I will be placing him in B tier. Good DPS unit with selfish abilities, weak damage output. Next is Ricard. I will be placing him in the A tier. An offensive tank unit with ability to deal massive true damage on enemies. Damage reduction makes him a good candidate for arena defense. Next is Melizza. I will be placing her in the Thrash Fillet tier. A DPS unit with weak damage output, conditional skills. Next is Thomas. I will be placing him in A tier. Known to counterattack and stun enemy. Pairs nicely with Brzak and Kane. Next is Asurina. I will be placing her in the A tier. Her ignite is powerful in Arcane Dominator and other dungeons. Next is Orak. I will be placing him in S tier. Very good DPS unit capable of dealing massive damage to boss units. Lifesteal and Dispel abilities are great for long fights. Requires heavy build though. Next is Burden. I will be placing him in A tier. A DPS unit with weak damage output. Requires very high build but can be helpful to counter invincible, death immunity and guard effects. Mainly used for arena contents. Next is Scarlet. I will be placing her in the B tier. Her bleeding effect is great, but her attack stat is very low. Good for Arcane Dominator, requires massive build. Next is Mognar. I will be placing him in the A tier. Gets frequent bonus turns and chance to use his ability twice. Very good utility unit who can easily break defense of boss units with his basic ability. Great for Arcane Dominator, dungeons and guild fights. Next is Harbag. I will be placing him in the Thrash Fillet tier. A very weak DPS unit. Next is Jacob. I will be placing him in the A tier. Very conditional DPS unit, but if used properly, he can gain lots of bonus turn and deals good damage. Known to have permanent invisibility. Requires very heavy build, very usable in arena content. Next is Brzak. I will be placing him in the A tier. A great tank that can nullify damage taken by allies thanks to his Succor ability. Has abilities like Taunt, Attack Down and Defense Up. Great for any content in the game to provide great sustenance to squishy allies. Next is Hassel. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier, a weak tank unit with offensive abilities. Next is Santis. I will be placing her in the A tier. Her poison attacks are great for Arcane Dominator. Next is Natalia. I will be placing her in S tier. Her ultimate ability deals massive AoE damage, and if she defeats any enemy, then she will get ability cooldown reset. More the buffs she has, more the enemies she can target. Great for arena and adventure. Pairs nicely with Connor, Joseph, Brand, and Yolanda. Next is HELMAR. I will be placing him in the B tier. His bleeding effects are great, but has low attack stats, good for Arcane Dominator and dungeons. Next is Myla. I will be placing her in the B tier. A weak DPS unit with freeze ability, pairs good with Tia. Next is Jonathan. I will be placing him in A tier. A good DPS unit. Next is HECTOR. I will be placing him in SS tier. A part of Stall Meta team, passively provides 20% defense to all allies. Abilities like Taunt and maximum health up to all members makes him an amazing tank. Great for any content in the game, whether it be arena, boss fights, dungeons, or adventure. He's just too good for overall team sustenance. Next is Virgil. I will be placing him in A tier. His silence ability is great for arena content, but that's all there is to him. Next is Kyle. I will be placing him in A tier. Next is William. I will be placing him in the SS tier. Boost the basic abilities of all team members to deal more damage. Additionally, he provides his allies with ability to counterattack and grants great defense boost. He can even break defense of all enemies with his ultimate ability. Great for any content in the game. One of the best support units in the game. Next is Andre. I will be placing him in the B tier. Weak DPS unit with very high skill cooldown time. Next is Lodrek. I will be placing him in the B tier. Weak tank with offensive abilities. Next is Mary. I will be placing her in the B tier. Good skills but high skill cooldown. Very low stats. Next is Hulens. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. Next is Ravin. I will be placing her in the B tier. Weak DPS unit with ignore defense and poison ability. Next is Axul. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. Next is Rodira. I will be placing her in the A tier. A good free-to-play healer unit, more healing skills compared to Connor. Good unit to pair up with Charles. Next is Anna. I will be placing her in the A tier. Higher the health, more the bonus damage to enemy. A good tank with Taunt, Invincible, Attack Down, Speed Down, and Stun ability. More the health, more the damage. Poor stats though. Next is Rogue. I will be placing him in the A tier. An offensive tank with counter-attack ability. Higher the health, more the damage. Has other abilities like Taunt and Self-Heal. BLACKHORN, HECTOR, and Brand can help him a lot. Next one is Dulov. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. Next one is Kaluk. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier as well. Next is Sese, Thrash Filler tier right over here. We have got Suzago, Thrash Filler tier. We have got Freya. I will be placing her in the B tier. Has abilities like defense down, speed down, bleeding, unhealable, and no positive effects. Poor stats though. Next is Valuk. I will be placing him in the A tier. Very cheap way to bring down massive bosses down to the ground. Pairs greatly with Santis or Gangelo or Gazar to bring down boss units. Next one is Vidar. I will be placing him in B tier. Niche tank with 3-turn taunt ability. Next is Elson. I will be placing him in the Thrash tier. Next one is Mudos, Thrash tier. Next one is Connor, and I will be placing him in the S tier. One of the best healers with ability to grant attack up and shield to all allies. As an elite unit, he can max out easily. Great for any content in the game. Next one is Marianne. I will be placing her in Thrash Filler tier. Next one is this Maluk, Thrash Filler. Next one is gonna be Evelyn, and I will be placing her in the Thrash Filler. Next one is gonna be ZACHARY. I will be placing him in the A tier right over here. He launches bonus attack every time he defeats an enemy. Even when an ally defeats an enemy, he launches a bonus attack. Great unit for starters. Requires very high build though. Great for any content, amazing farmer. Next is Rorke. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. Next one is Barak. I will be placing him in the B tier. Weak DPS unit with bonus attack, bonus damage, and stealth. Next is Vukt. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. Next one is Abbott. I will be placing him in the B tier. A good healer. Next one is Joseph. I will be placing him in the B tier. A good support unit with ability to boost attack and defense of all allies. Next one is CELINE. I will be placing her in Thrash Filler tier. Next one is Charles. I will be placing him in the A tier. Together with Brand, Huckrin, and Brand, he can constantly deal massive true damage to the enemy while surviving for a long time. He surely is a good tanky DPS unit for stall meta. Great for any content in the game like boss fights and arena. Next one is Mulago. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier. And finally, Rojago. I will be placing him in the Thrash Filler tier as well. And this is it for the Awaken Chaos Era tier list as that of January 2022. What do you think of this tier list? Please do let me know down in the comment section below. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. That said, see you guys in the next video.